do play, will you have to manage your game time a little bit for the first couple of weeks?
Haven't really got that far yet, so we'll sit down with Scotty. If I get through training, hopefully I can just come in and play a full game. That's hopefully the plan. Of probably took an extra week in the VFL just to make sure that when I come back I can play a full game. But yeah, it all depends on how we're going, and the way footy is these days, you've got to be able to play as much as you can if we get a couple of injuries, so you're stuck out there. So you want to go in knowing that you're 100% right to go and you can run out of game.
Expect it might take you a little while to get back up to the intensity of AFL footy?
Yeah. In my own mind, I'd love to come out there and be back to where I was before, but to be realistic, it's probably going to take a good month or so, or maybe more. Not to say that you're not going to have hopefully some good performances early on, but I've got to be realistic about what I can expect.
What's the biggest challenge for you?
Biggest challenge just mentally, the battle. It's just a grind day in, day out. Little niggles that you feel from time to time, and you feel like you're ready to go and they hold you back. And so just that mental battle, and it's great to be getting to the other end where you're actually playing, because that makes it a lot easier. But there's still mind games that even now that you still play. I'm sure there'll be a couple of sleepless nights before I actually get out there, just knowing that I'll get through and be unscathed.
You mentioned when you first did the injury about chatting to a few other players, like roughly about going through the same sort of experience and the whole journey of the injury. Do you think you'll maybe have a chat to him or other players that have done the injury just before the game, before your first game back, just to sort of get in the psychological frame of mind that you can just go out and attack the footy and not be too concerned or inhibited?
I probably did that, to be honest, a couple of weeks ago playing the first VFL game, because I was actually really nervous going into that game, just the unknown, to go out and do it. But I think the confidence I gained from the couple of games going in there and getting bashed around a bit and knocked over and tackling and chasing and all that, sort of in an uncontrolled manner, where you're away from training and you're under fatigue. So I suppose I've been through that, and chatted to Ruffy before that game. So I think it's just more about just making sure I'm in a good frame of mind going into this game, and I'm sure I'll be right.
You mentioned that with jumping and explosiveness and stuff like that, have you lost a lot of speed, and have the docs told you that it will come back eventually, or will you be a little bit off from here on in?
I don't know whether you've seen any footage of me running down at training, but the boys actually think I've gained a yard of pace. So my Achilles is probably twice as fat as what it used to be. So I reckon it's probably actually, speed-wise I'm fine. It's more the jumping, but to be honest, it's not a big issue. I think the last time I went for a mark, going back and looking at the video footage, I need the bloke in the calf. So it's not going to be a massive issue for me.
And how have you been the last 2 months watching on? Has it been frustrating, and what have you made of the boys starting the season?
I think early on, probably frustrating when you want to be out there, but I suppose when you get your head around knowing that it's going to be a later start, I've probably found it easier. It has been frustrating at times, because I know we're capable of playing such great footy, which we've shown against some really good sides. We played some great footy, but then you have the weeks in between which have been disappointing. So it's hard when you can't get out there, but you just got to do what you do during the week, get around the guys, go through the vision with them. We have our leadership meetings, and just try and be a part of it as much as you can be without being out there. So I'm really confident in what we're doing and where we're going. We just got a couple of little teething issues at the moment, which we've got to work our way through. But the overall picture is looking okay. I don't know. Last time I missed a couple of games, I was in my first couple of years, so it's hard to say. But you just want to be out there and running around, and when you can't do that, you sort of feel like part of you's taken away. But I'm excited about getting back out there and joining them.
Has it been a long bye week for the boys, given the loss this one?
I think there's two ways you can look at it. You firstly you want to get out there and get straight back into it and try and rectify it. But I think with the bye, you just got to get away and take your mind off it. I think one of the boys had their 21st in Adelaide, so a few of the boys got across there and did that. I took the missus away, so she was happy about that. So it's just a good time to have a bit of a break and forget about footy, and now we refocus today. So it's our first session back as a group, and that's where we really drilled down. We worked a bit through the Gold Coast loss last week, but then we sort of broke up pretty quickly to get away, and now we really start to sharpen the focus.
Have you been able to take a more critical look at what's going wrong? Like, do you feel a bit more maybe like a coaching perspective come game day to see what you can do differently?
Yeah, probably. I think, it's really interesting when you're not in there. You forget how hard it is for the boys out there. You become really critical really quickly, and I fell into that trap probably early on. But you got to sit back, and most of the time our efforts has been okay, but a lot of the method stuff was probably poor. So try to really tweak some of that with the guys, and try and coach a couple of the guys on ways we can improve. So I've enjoyed that side of things, and probably ignited a bit of a passion for that sort of stuff, which has been great.
I'm sure the Jack Viney situation hasn't escaped you, and going on the former tribunal, we're probably going to see about another 4 guys rubbed out this week. Is that, looking on from the sidelines, given you any apprehension about going in hard for the footy once you return?
I think I'm really pleased. I think everyone in the football community with the Viney case, I think that was the right decision. As players, we know, I think it's pretty clear. You bump, you're at a, you take a risk, and we all know that if you get it wrong, you're potentially going to get rubbed out. In regards to the case on the weekend, I didn't really see any of the footy, so I'm not 100% across all of them. But I think, in general we know. But I suppose that the hard thing is it's such an instant game, and I think we forget that pretty quickly. You do things in a split second, so we just got to continue to coach our guys, and you want our guys to attack the footy and play with their natural instinct. But if we're going to get guys who are clearly going to get rubbed out for this, well, we've got to go back and teach them and coach them, and hopefully try and get them to maybe have a think about or change the way they're playing.
Thanks, guys.